I'm 21, holding my newborn daughter in a dingy apartment, tears streaming down my face as I realize her father has vanished without a trace. The phone rings, it's his snobby family, sneering that I'm just a trashy mistake who ruined his life. Fast forward 8 years. I'm standing in a boardroom, signing papers to acquire their failing business, watching their jaws drop as I fire him on the spot. If you've ever been written off and dreamed of sweet, ice-cold payback, stick around. This is my story. Hello everyone, my name is Rebecca. I'm 29 now, living in a cozy suburb outside Seattle, and I run my own accounting firm that specializes in helping single parents get back on their feet. Today, I want to share a very personal story from my life. My real-life journey from rock bottom to revenge that still gives me chills. If you've ever felt invisible, judged, or betrayed, and craved that moment of justice, hit that like button right now, subscribe for more empowering tales, and let's dive in. You won't believe how it ends. Okay, let's go back to where it all started. I was just 20 when I found out I was pregnant. My name is Rebecca, and at that time, I was this wide-eyed girl from a small town in Washington state, dreaming of finishing my college degree in business. I'd always been the responsible one, good grades, part-time job at a local coffee shop, saving every penny for tuition. But life has a way of throwing curveballs, doesn't it? I met him, let's call him Jake, during my sophomore year. He was charming, older by a few years, from what I thought was a good family. His parents owned a mid-sized logistics company, the kind that ships packages across the state. Jake drove a shiny car, talked big about taking over the family business one day. We dated for about 8 months, and things got serious fast. I trusted him. Big mistake. When I told him about the pregnancy, his face went pale. Not the joyful kind of shock, the terrified, cornered animal kind. "Are you sure it's mine?" he blurted out, his voice cracking like he was the one carrying the weight. My stomach twisted into knots. I felt this hot flush creep up my neck, my hands clammy as I gripped the pregnancy test stick. How could he even ask that? We'd been exclusive, I wasn't the type to play games. But right there, in his fancy apartment with the leather couches and the view of the city lights, I saw the real him emerge. Selfish. Cowardly. His family didn't help. His mom, a sharp-dressed woman with perfectly manicured nails and a perpetual smirk, called me the next day. "Rebecca, dear," she said, her voice dripping with fake sympathy, "you're so young. This isn't the life Jake planned. We can help with arrangements, if you catch my drift." Arrangements? My blood boiled. I paced the tiny kitchen in my shared apartment, the phone pressed so hard to my ear it hurt. They meant abortion or adoption, anything to erase me and the baby from their pristine family image. Jake's dad was worse. He flat out said I was trapping their son, like I was some gold digger scheming for their money. Me, who could barely afford ramen noodles half the time. I refused. I kept the baby, our daughter, whom I named Lily after my grandmother. But as my belly grew, Jake pulled away. Texts went unanswered, calls straight to voicemail. By my due date, he was ghosting me completely. The labor was brutal, 18 hours of pain that felt like my body was splitting apart. Sweat soaked the hospital sheets, monitors beeping relentlessly, nurses urging me to push through the fog of exhaustion. And when Lily finally arrived, her tiny cry piercing the air like a lifeline, Jake was nowhere. Not a single message. His family? Silent. The first few months were a blur of hell. I'd wake up every 2 hours to Lily's wails, my eyes burning from lack of sleep, my body aching like I'd run a marathon. I'd rock her in the dim light of my one-bedroom apartment, the walls thin enough to hear neighbors arguing next door. The scent of sour milk clung to everything, my clothes, the blankets, even my hair. I'd whisper, "Shush, baby, mommy's here," but inside, my thoughts screamed, "How am I supposed to do this alone?" I was 21, for God's sake. My friends were posting selfies from beach trips and concerts on social media, their lives a whirlwind of freedom, while mine was measured in ounces of formula and piles of dirty diapers. Money was the killer. My part-time job at the shop? They let me go when I couldn't keep up with shifts during late pregnancy. Jake promised child support in a half-hearted email, but it never came. I applied for every government aid program I could find, WIC for food, Medicaid for doctor visits. But it wasn't enough. I remember standing in line at the food bank, Lily strapped to my chest in a worn carrier, her little head bobbing as I shifted my weight. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, the air thick with the smell of canned goods and desperation. People stared, older women with pity in their eyes, judgmental glances from others whispering, "So young. What a shame." The stares followed me everywhere. Pushing Lily's stroller down the cracked sidewalks of our neighborhood, I'd feel eyes boring into me. "Teen mom," they'd mutter, loud enough to hear. One day at the park, a group of moms, perfect hair, yoga pants, sipping lattes, actually said it to my face. "Honey, you look exhausted. Shouldn't you be in school instead of playing house?" My cheeks burned, a lump forming in my throat so tight I could barely swallow. I wanted to scream back, to tell them about the nights I cried myself to sleep, hugging Lily close because she was all I had. But I just nodded, forced a smile, and walked away, my hands trembling on the stroller handle. Jake's absence gnawed at me like a constant ache. I'd scroll through his social media late at night, Lily finally asleep beside me, the glow of my phone screen illuminating my tear-streaked face. There he was, partying with friends, posing in front of his family's company truck, captioning it, "Living the dream." No mention of us. His family blocked me after I sent one desperate message begging for help. "You're on your own," his mom texted back. Powerless. That's how I felt. Betrayed by the man I loved, underestimated by his uppity family, disrespected by society that saw me as a statistic, not a person fighting tooth and nail. The disrespect piled on. At 22, I tried to get a job at a local office, entry-level admin stuff. The interviewer, a middle-aged guy with a condescending grin, glanced at my resume. "Single mom, huh? How do you plan to handle childcare? We need reliability here." My heart pounded, fists clenched under the table. I explained my setup with a neighbor babysitter, but he just chuckled. "Good luck, kid." No callback. It happened again and again. People assuming I was flaky, irresponsible, just because I had a child young. Inside, rage simmered. Why couldn't they see me? The girl who stayed up until dawn studying flashcards while Lily napped on my lap. Lily's first birthday was a low point. I baked a lopsided cake from a box mix, the kitchen smelling of vanilla and burnt edges. Just me, her, and my mom, who drove 3 hours to be there. As Lily smeared frosting on her chubby cheeks, giggling with that pure joy only babies have, I broke down. Sobs racked my body, hot tears splashing onto the table. "Why did he leave us, Mom?" I whispered. She hugged me, but her words echoed my fears. "Some people aren't built for this, sweetie." That night, alone again, I stared at the ceiling, the weight of injustice crushing my chest. Jake and his family were thriving, while I scraped by. It wasn't fair. I craved validation, that moment when they'd see what they'd discarded. But frustration turned to fire. One evening, after another rejection email, I sat on the floor with Lily playing blocks nearby. Her little hands stacked them precariously, determination in her eyes. If she could keep trying, so could I. That's when resolve hit. No more begging. No more invisibility. I'd build something they couldn't ignore. I enrolled in online accounting courses, practical, stable, something I could do from home. I'd study during naps, the soft click of my keyboard the only sound besides Lily's breathing. Coffee became my lifeline, its bitter steam rising as I pored over balance sheets and tax codes. As Lily grew, toddling at 1, chattering at 2, my skills sharpened. I freelanced small gigs, balancing books for local shops, helping neighbors with taxes. The first check I got? $200. It felt like a fortune. I'd deposit it at the bank, the teller's polite smile a small win. But Jake? Rumors trickled in through mutual friends. He was working at his family's company now, but slacking, partying too much, missing deadlines. Their business was struggling, bad management, outdated systems. I filed that away, a spark of an idea forming. By Lily's 3rd birthday, I graduated. Walking that virtual stage, pandemic times, diploma in hand, with Lily cheering from the couch. "Mommy did it," she yelled, her voice high and proud. Pride swelled in my chest, warm and fierce. But it was just the start. I started my own firm, Rebecca's Financial Solutions. At first, a one-woman show from my kitchen table. I'd network at mom groups, the chatter of playdates mixing with talks of budgets. Clients came. Other single parents, small businesses overlooked by big firms. Word spread. My niche? Empowering the underdogs. I'd sit with clients, listening to their stories, echoes of my own. "I get it," I'd say, voice steady despite the memories flooding back. Revenue grew. $10,000 the first year, $50,000 the next. I hired help, a virtual assistant, then an office space. Lily started school, her backpack swinging as she waved goodbye, and I'd dive into work, adrenaline pumping. Meanwhile, Jake's family hit rough waters. Supply chain issues, competition, they were bleeding money. I heard through the grapevine. Layoffs, debts piling up. Jake? Still there, but demoted, his ego bruised. The turning point came at 27. My firm was booming. $500,000 in revenue, specializing in turnaround consulting. One day, an email. Their company wanted a consultation. Anonymous at first, but I recognized the name. My heart raced, palms sweaty on the mouse. This was it, the setup. I took the meeting. Dressed sharp, a tailored blazer, heels clicking on their lobby floor. The air smelled of stale coffee and desperation. Jake's dad greeted me, not recognizing me at first. Then his eyes widened. "Rebecca? The mother of your granddaughter," I finished coolly, my voice like steel. Jake was in the room, slouched in a chair, face draining of color. His mom fidgeted with her pearls, avoiding my gaze. We sat. They laid out their problems. Mismanaged books, embezzlement rumors, hint, Jake's wild spending. I listened, notebook in hand, but inside? Triumph brewed. "You need a full audit," I said, "and possibly a buyout to survive." Their jaws tightened. Over weeks, I consulted, deliberately drawing it out. Short emails for tension. Found discrepancies. Long reports detailing their failures. Jake cornered me once in the hall, his breath reeking of cheap cologne. "Becky, come on. For old time's sake?" My skin crawled. It's Rebecca. And old times? You mean when you abandoned us? The climax hit like a thunderclap. My firm had grown enough. I'd secured investors, turned it into a powerhouse. Their company? On the brink. I made the offer. Acquisition. Not a bailout, a takeover. I'd buy them out, restructure, keep the name but boot the dead weight. The boardroom was tense, fluorescent lights humming overhead, the table scattered with papers. Jake's family sat across from me, faces ashen. His dad slammed a fist. This is absurd. You're nobody. My pulse thundered, but I leaned forward, voice calm. Nobody? I built this from diaper changes and midnight studies while you laughed me off. Jake stammered, Rebecca, please. I have a kid now too. Wait, no, I mean. Liar. I'd checked. He was childless, still chasing parties. I slid the papers over. Sign, or watch it crumble. His mom whispered furiously, but they had no choice. Debts too high, creditors circling. They signed, pens scratching like defeat. Then came the payoff. Effective immediately. Jake, you're fired. His eyes bulged, chair scraping back. You can't. I just did. Security escorted him out, his shouts echoing down the hall. This is bullshit. She's a nobody. But the door slammed, silencing him. Relief washed over me like a tidal wave. I stepped outside, cool air hitting my face, and laughed, deep, cathartic. Validation surged. I turned their dismissal into dust. Lily waited at home. I hugged her tight, whispering, we did it, baby. Triumph? It tasted sweeter than I imagined. That night, calls flooded in, his family begging for mercy. Think of Lily's bloodline, his mom pleaded. I hung up, heart light. Justice served, cold and precise. Looking back, this wasn't just revenge, it was karma in action. Life's injustices can break you, but they can also forge you stronger. I learned that true strength comes from rising above, turning pain into power. If you're facing betrayal or judgment, remember, your story isn't over. Justice might take time, but when it hits, it's oh so satisfying. What doesn't kill you? It makes you the boss. Phew, that was intense, right? If my story fired you up or gave you that satisfying chill down your spine, smash that like button. It really helps spread these tales. Drop a comment below. What's the most epic revenge you've seen or experienced? Did someone underestimate you and regret it big time? Share it. I read every one. And if you want more real-life stories of triumph, underdogs winning, and sweet payback, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss the next one. Thanks for watching, take care, and remember, never let them dim your light. See you soon.